Cristiano Ronaldo. For some fans, the GOAT debate starts and ends with Cristiano Ronaldo. He is football's ultimate machine, a player who built greatness through obsession. Born in Madeira, Portugal, he left home at just 12 years old to chase a dream. By 18, he was at Manchester United, dazzling with step-overs and lightning speed. There, he transformed from a flashy winger into a complete forward, winning his first Ballon d'Or in 2008 and leading United to Champions League glory. At Real Madrid, he reached another level. 4 Champions Leagues in 5 years, countless hat-tricks, and unforgettable nights, like his bicycle kick against Juventus. Ronaldo didn't just score, he scored when it mattered most. In total, he's won 5 Ballon d'Ors, 5 Champions Leagues, the Euros with Portugal, and holds the record as the top scorer in football history. What makes him special isn't just the numbers, it's his mentality. Relentless training, insane athleticism, and a hunger to be the best turned him into one of the most feared players ever. To many, Ronaldo proves that greatness isn't born, it's built. But while he reached the top through discipline, his greatest rival made it all look effortless. Lionel Messi, 8 Ballon d'Ors, a World Cup, and moments that feel like magic. Lionel Messi is football's artist, a player who played the game with such beauty that it seemed unfair. From the moment he broke into Barcelona's team as a teenager, it was clear he was special. His low center of gravity, close control, and explosive acceleration allowed him to glide past defenders like they weren't there. By 24, he already had 3 Ballon d'Ors and a Champions League final performance against Manchester United that many still call perfect. At Barcelona, he scored 672 goals, won 10 La Liga titles, and 4 Champions Leagues, becoming the face of tiki-taka football. The Messi moments are endless. His solo goal against Getafe, his hat-trick against Real Madrid at 19, and his cool chip against Manuel Neuer. But his international career silenced critics. In 2021, he lifted the Copa America, and in 2022, the World Cup, completing the one trophy that had always eluded him. Messi represents pure joy, artistry, and magic. He didn't just dominate the game, he made it beautiful. For millions, he is the greatest to ever touch a ball. But before Messi and Ronaldo, the world already crowned its first king. Pelé, the original GOAT. Pelé was the teenager who changed football forever. At just 17 years old, he scored twice in the 1958 World Cup final, carrying Brazil to their first ever trophy. Over the next decade, he won 2 more, becoming the only player in history with 3 World Cup medals. That alone could make him the greatest. But Pelé's story wasn't just about trophies. He scored over 1,000 career goals, dazzling with bicycle kicks, thunderous shots, and the flair that defined Brazilian football. His 1970 World Cup team is still considered the greatest ever, with Pelé at the heart of it, scoring, assisting, and entertaining the world. Beyond the pitch, he became the sport's first global icon, bringing football into the mainstream of culture and politics. For millions, Pelé is untouchable, the king of football, the man who brought style and grace to the global stage. But every king has a challenger, and Pelé's greatest rival came from Argentina, a man who embodied both genius and chaos. Diego Maradona. Diego Maradona was football's rebel god, a player as famous for his brilliance as for his controversies. In 1986, he produced the most iconic World Cup of all time. Against England, he scored the infamous Hand of God goal, followed just minutes later by the goal of the century, dribbling past half the team from his own half. He carried Argentina to the title almost single-handedly, cementing his place in history. At Napoli, he pulled off the impossible. Before Maradona, the club had never won Serie A. With him, they became champions twice, taking down giants like AC Milan and Juventus. He turned Naples into a city of believers, worshipping him like a saint. But Maradona's life was filled with contradictions. Dazzling genius on the pitch, chaos and scandal off it. Addiction, suspensions, and controversy followed him everywhere. Still, no player inspired the same raw passion. For many, Maradona wasn't just a footballer, he was a savior. And while Argentina had Maradona, Brazil answered back with a phenomenon of their own. Ronaldo. At his peak, no defender alive could stop Ronaldo Nazario. Nicknamed the Phenomenon, he was the perfect striker, combining explosive speed, unreal skill, and clinical finishing. At just 20 years old, he became the youngest ever FIFA World Player of the Year. His seasons with Barcelona and Inter Milan were devastating. He'd collect the ball near halfway, sprint past defenders like they were cones, and finish with ice-cold precision. He won 2 Ballon d'Ors and 2 World Cups, including an incredible comeback in 2002. After years of brutal knee injuries that nearly ended his career, he scored 8 goals in the tournament, including 2 in the final against Germany. Even though injuries robbed him of his very best years, his peak was so explosive that many still call him the most complete striker ever. To defenders, he was fear itself. And if R9 represented destruction, his countryman Ronaldinho represented pure joy. Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho made football fun again. With his grin, tricks, and unbelievable skill, he turned every pitch into a playground. At PSG and then Barcelona, he became the most entertaining player of his era. He won the 2002 World Cup, the 2005 Ballon d'Or, and led Barcelona to their first Champions League in over a decade. His highlight reel is endless. It's elastico nutmegs, no-look passes, free kicks bent around walls, and even making defenders fall over in embarrassment. Fans didn't just watch Ronaldinho. They laughed, they smiled, and even rival supporters stood to applaud him. Yes, his peak was short. His love of partying cut his prime years in half. But in those golden seasons, he was untouchable. Ronaldinho represents why people fall in love with football, not just winning, but joy. But while he played with flair, another GOAT changed the game with ideas rather than tricks. Johan Cruyff. Johan Cruyff didn't just play football, he redefined it. The Dutch forward was the face of total football, where every player could switch roles seamlessly. With Ajax, he won 3 European Cups in a row. With Barcelona, he carried the team and later transformed the club as a manager. Cruyff won 3 Ballon d'Ors, but his real greatness lies in influence. He changed how football is played. His philosophy inspired pressing, positional play, and ball control. Without Cruyff, there's no Guardiola, no tiki-taka, no modern Barcelona as we know it. He wasn't just elegance on the pitch, he was a thinker, someone who proved football is as much about ideas as it is about skill. If Pelé and Maradona were about moments, Cruyff was about evolution. But if Cruyff was the brain of football, the next legend was its general at the back. Franz Beckenbauer. GOAT debates usually focus on attackers, but Franz Beckenbauer proved a defender could rule the game. Nicknamed the Kaiser, he revolutionized the sweeper role, defending with elegance, stepping into midfield, and dictating games from the back. He led West Germany to World Cup glory in 1974 as captain, then did it again in 1990 as manager. At Bayern Munich, he won 3 straight European Cups in the 1970s, cementing their dominance. Beckenbauer wasn't just a defender, he was a leader, calm, composed, and always in control. His influence stretched far beyond the pitch, shaping German football culture for decades. He's one of the few to win the World Cup as both player and coach, a testament to his genius. Beckenbauer showed that defenders could be just as legendary as strikers, but while he ruled with elegance, another legend became known for his magic under pressure. Zinedine Zidane. 1 goal, 1 headbutt. Zidane's career was unforgettable. In 1998, he scored twice in the World Cup final to give France their first ever title. 2 years later, he lifted Euro 2000, proving his dominance wasn't a one-off. At Real Madrid, his 2002 Champions League volley against Bayer Leverkusen remains one of the most iconic goals in football history. He won the Ballon d'Or in 1998 and later returned as a coach, dominating Europe again with 3 consecutive Champions League titles. Zidane was elegance under pressure, calm, technical, and decisive in the biggest matches. He wasn't the fastest or most prolific, but he always delivered when it mattered. For many, Zidane represents grace and leadership, thriving in football's biggest moments. But before Zidane, another Frenchman had already ruled Europe. Michel Platini, 3 straight Ballon d'Or, something even Messi and Ronaldo never did. Michel Platini was Europe's king in the 1980s. He led France to Euro 1984 glory, scoring 9 goals in just 5 games, a record that still stands. At Juventus, he won Serie A and the European Cup, becoming the heartbeat of their success. Platini was a midfield genius, capable of dictating play while also scoring goals himself. His free kicks were legendary, his vision unmatched, and his leadership undeniable. His later career as UEFA president ended in scandal, but his playing greatness is not in question. Ending with Platini sparks debate. Some argue his peak was shorter than others, but at his best he was unstoppable. And that's the truth about the GOAT debate. There is no single answer. It depends on what you value most: goals, trophies, influence, or pure magic. So tell us, who's your GOAT? Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, you will love this one.